What's up, guys? Matt Moda here with Crossing Broad, here to talk to you about the Eagles' first game opening night against the Dallas Cowboys. Finally, the NFL season has started, and the Eagles, because they won the Super Bowl, get to play host on Thursday night. They get to host the Cowboys division rivalry. No Micah Parsons. It's going to be an absolutely awesome game. For this video specifically, I'm going to do a quick preview of the games, going through the odds and the stuff like that. And then I'll go, after that, give you my two official bets for this game. Now, for a typical Eagles game when they play on like Sunday or Monday, just to give you a brief overview of the plans for the channel during the season, I'm going to have a preview on Monday, get that up pretty early, just kind of going through the early look, early odds, early betting preview of like, here's the stuff we're looking at, here's the injury news, stuff like that. And then later in the week, Thursday, Friday, a video with official plays and stuff like that. Since this game is on Thursday, we're just doing everything in one. But I would appreciate it, those of you watching, if you could like the video, comment, subscribe. You know, we started over the summer for the Phillies, now getting into football season with the Eagles, pretty exciting. So do all that, like, comment, subscribe, and then also go to BetMGM, use the promo code CROSSING to sign up. You can get two offers depending on the state you are located in. Well, you can only get one, but the offer depends on the state you are located in. So go to BetMGM, sign up using the promo code CROSSING. Now, in terms of the odds, the Eagles, minus 8-point favorites at minus 110 odds at BetMGM. Some places have them up to 8.5, so you could get a little bit of a value if you play it on BetMGM at minus 8. It was 7.5 for basically the entirety of the offseason, and then Micah Parsons got traded, and it moved to 8, and then in some places 8.5. The total on this one is 47.5, which is a pretty big total for an NFL game. You know, if you're looking at college totals, that one's low, but for the NFL, it's a pretty big total. Now, I don't have an official play on either the spread or the total. And obviously, I'm not touching the money line with the Eagles at like minus 450. And I definitely don't think the Cowboys win. Do I think the Eagles cover 8 points? It's a lot. Week 1 games are weird. It's a division rivalry. I get that Micah Parsons was traded and stuff like that. I get everything with the circus going on with the Cowboys. It's still week 1. It's still a division game. I'm certainly not betting it, but I would actually lean towards the Cowboys plus 8. That's just too rich for my blood, expecting the Eagles to win by over a touchdown. And I do lean towards the over. I am more confident in the total going over than I am in the Cowboys covering. You know, the Cowboys defense, I think, is going to be an abomination. So I do think that the Eagles should be able to score pretty frequently on the Cowboys. But I worry about how the Eagles defense is going to perform. There's a ton of new faces on the Eagles, mostly in the secondary where they had to replace Slay and CJ, and that unknown with CB2 and the other safety spot could lead to the Cowboys having some success passing the ball. So again, I'm not going to track those as part of my official plays or anything like that. Just wanted to give you a brief overview of the odds and what I'm looking at. The first official play that we have for this season, very exciting stuff. We're going Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. You know, I will admit, I went back and forth about how I wanted to play the Eagles in this game. You know, does Saquon just run for 100 yards again, like he did basically every game last year? Are the Eagles going to pass more? And maybe we can get some value on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, stuff like that. Is Hurts going to run, use his legs? Is he going to throw? You know, the Eagles, if you go off of last year, the smash play would be Saquon Barkley. But new offensive coordinator, just because something happened last year doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. And I just felt like the safest route in week 1, before we really know what the Eagles offense is going to look like. Is it going to look like last year, or are they going to be pass heavier? So the safest play, it's like the easy square. It's the easy button. Just press the Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. Minus 120 odds is pretty reasonable for Jalen Hurts to score. You know, in the Super Bowl, he was like minus 150, minus 160, stuff like that. And the biggest thing here, there's a couple. The tush push is still allowed. There was a ton of off-season chatter about the tush push, whether it was going to get banned. It almost did. I think it was 2 or 3 votes away from getting banned back in the offseason when the owners voted on it. So with the tush push still allowed, the Eagles get that ball on the 1 or even the 2-yard line. That's the play they're going to run. That's how Jalen Hurts scores. A lot of his touchdowns come from the tush push. And you just think about the narrative of it. You know, I try to be as data focused as I can, and you'll see that over the course of the videos. But if you allow me to go on the narrative street a little bit, the Eagles coming off of a Super Bowl victory against their division rival in an offseason with so much chatter around the tush push, you know Nick Sirianni, those of you that are Eagles fans and know, Nick Sirianni would love to just give the middle finger to the rest of the NFL, and F you to people that tried to ban it. A team that voted against it, or I guess I should say voted in favor of banning the tush push, would be your Dallas Cowboys. So from a narrative perspective, if the Eagles have an opportunity to use that at the goal line, they 100% are going to. And Jalen Hurts scores a lot of touchdowns. Last year, he played 19 games. That includes the playoffs. He scored a touchdown in 13 of those 19 games. Now you look, one of the games he did not score, he only played 16% of the snaps because he left that game with a concussion. That was a game against Washington, left in the first quarter. You take that game out, it's 13 of 18. Another game in which he did not score was his first game back from that concussion, the wild card game against the Green Bay Packers. He was clearly rusty in that game, didn't play that great. He also was clearly trying to avoid contact. He slid more in that game than you've ever seen Jalen Hurts slide before. Now, he did play the whole game, and the Eagles didn't have an opportunity at the one, so we don't know whether they would have used it or not. So I can't say we'll take that one away. That's still 13 of 18 games last year, and he did it in 11 of 18 games in 2023. You know, he only played the Cowboys once last year. He scored twice in that game. So while we're still trying to figure out what the Eagles are going to be, I think it just makes the most sense to just, again, go with the free square, the easy button, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. And then the last thing I'll mention before we move on to my next play is the Eagles' offensive line should have a huge advantage over the Cowboys' defensive line. Obviously, they lost Michael Parsons. The Cowboys' run defense was among the worst in the MLB last year, and the Eagles' offensive line, even with replacing Mekhi Becton with Tyler Steen, even with Landon Dickerson being a little bit banged up, I think he's going to play. The Eagles offense should dominate this Cowboys defensive line. Now, that does bode in favor of Saquon Barkley rushing yards. So if you want to go that route, I would not blame you at all. I also think it means the Eagles are going to get some pretty big push along the offensive line, which is going to help, obviously, with a tush push. So play number one, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown, minus 120 odds. Next up, I do have a play on the Cowboys side as well. And I like Dak Prescott 2+ passing touchdowns. You can get this at plus 129 odds. As long as you can see a plus sign next to it, next to this play, I would take it at that. As long as it doesn't move to minus money, which I don't think it will. Kind of similar on the Eagles side. I went back and forth. How do you want to play the Cowboys? They have a new head coach. Granted, that head coach was their offensive coordinator last year. And on the Eagles side of it, it's going to sound scary because the Eagles' pass defense was awesome last year. I mean, they were the best defense in the NFL, the best secondary in the NFL. They are fantastic. As I mentioned, 2 new pieces in the secondary, and both of those pieces are pretty big question marks. Replacing Darius Slay is most likely going to be, it's going to be a journeyman cornerback, Adoree Jackson. He's been around the NFL. He's not horrible, definitely not as good as Darius Slay. And they have a new piece in the secondary. Most likely the starting safety is going to be Sidney Brown. Andrew Makuba could have been the starter, but he missed time twice in the offseason due to an injury in training camp. So I think it's going to be Sidney Brown. Adoree Jackson struggled in training camp. He was not that good. He struggled in the preseason. And Sidney Brown is not a coverage type of safety. He's a safety that flies up in the box and loves to make tackles, but somebody that you can take advantage of in the air. So Dak Prescott, you look at him last year, he played 8 games and he got hurt in the 8th one. So if we only look at the first 7 games, he threw for 2 touchdowns in 4 of 7 games. So even though it feels gross, he still hit it in 4 of 7 games. That's still above a 50% hit rate for something that we are getting for plus money. Now, obviously, a ton more goes into it, but that right off the bat is positive expected value. If you go back to 2 years ago, which is a little bit different because the Cowboys offense was so good 2 years ago, Dak threw for 2 or more touchdowns in 12 of 18 games, and he did it in 11 of the last 12 games of the year, again, back in 2023. So they add George Pickens, they get Dak back, they get a healthy CeeDee Lamb, they get Terrence Ferguson back, who was in and out of the lineup last year due to injury. And I think the Cowboys passing offense could actually be pretty good this year. Maybe not like a fantasy league winner like we saw 2 years ago, but good, respectable, better than what we saw last year. And on the other side of things, I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball on the ground at all. So you also want to take a Dak Prescott passing yards. You want to take a George Pickens receiving yards. I just don't think that the Cowboys are going to be able to move the ball on the ground at all. The Eagles, third best run defense in terms of adjusted yards before contact last year. They have an awesome defensive line. Even though they lost a couple pieces, their defensive line is still really, really good. And The Cowboys' offensive line is not what we're used to seeing in terms of running the ball. And look at their running backs. Javonte Williams, who was an awesome prospect before he shredded his knee, and he just hasn't been good since that injury, and we're like 3 years removed from it. Miles Sanders, who hasn't been good since he left the Eagles 2 years ago, and a currently injured rookie in Jaden Blue, who's not like a workhorse type of running back. So the Cowboys are probably going to be losing for most of this game. They're probably going to have to be passing a ton. And you could get, again, plus money for him to record 2+ passing touchdowns. I think it's pretty good value. The odds are good as well. But that's all we got. So 2 plays for you guys to lock in. Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. Dak Prescott 2+ passing touchdowns if you want the lean on the over as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching video 1 of hopefully a long and successful NFL season. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, go to BetMGM, use the promo code CROSSING to sign up. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Must be 21 or older in participating states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See terms and conditions in the description of the video.